Hey guys, welcome to the Facebook Ad Friday show. Well, we'll be covering the Facebook advertising news, the newest iOS update that's going to destroy all our reporting, and new strategies, optimization tools, and more. And I have several guests on I have a Yev that is a founder of ZonTracker, which is going to be the next could be the next way we track conversions. Not right now it's tracking conversions with an Amazon, but it could be the next way to track conversions just in general, even on our website. And I have Diego, which is a Facebook ad specialist, on the call as well. And just starting out, diving in right into the news. Now, tech suggestions are getting pretty big. It can now You can now easily add previously good performing tech suggestions within your Facebook ads that have been performing decently well, and it makes it where it's going to get a lot easier. And I like how they're implementing these optimized ad copies within our Facebook tech suggestions. And some other tips that Facebook may know now or may want to know is when you turn off a Facebook ad and turn it back on, it just tends to not perform as well. And like I always tell my clients to try to keep the campaign on as long as possible so that way you don't see those and get those ramifications of turning it off. Diego has a really good explanation why this occurs. Diego?
So thank you for having me on the show, Victor.
Mhm.
So basically what happens when you turn off an ad in the campaign level or an ad set level, your campaign loses its optimization completely. And now you need to turn it back on to start getting new data so the campaign can start working again. So basically when you turn it off, the campaign lose everything that it had before, and now you need to start running it again and gain new data. But in the long term, in the short term, it will affect your sales. But in the long term, if you have it a good targeting, good copy, and good optimization, it could go really well.
Yeah, what are some other news like related to Facebook, like the Facebook antitrust suit? There's a lot going on right now. Like it's just the beginning of 2021, and there's so much stuff going on. What are some other things that are going on within Facebook?
No, 2021 started strong right now, and one of them is the antitrust lawsuit that
Yeah.
it doesn't affect directly Facebook ads, but it certainly will in the long term. So for those that who don't know, the antitrust lawsuit is a FTC claim that due to Facebook because it was doing anti-competitive stuff like acquiring new startups, acquiring WhatsApp, Instagram, and now they have a monopoly. So what happened is that the FTC perceived that Facebook has the entire market for themselves, which is not true because there's TikTok, there's Snapchat, and there's a lot of things going on right now. And in terms of that, it's like a call to attention to Facebook that in the long term, it will mean that Facebook will be need to separate the three companies, which could certainly affect advertising. But besides that, I feel that this is more like a call to action to people to start seeing new ways of advertising and not relying only on Facebook because we have TikTok ads, Snapchat ads, Google ads, YouTube ads, which are really profitable right now. And a lot of people think that you need to run Facebook ads or you die, and that's not true. I see a lot of businesses that thrive only with Google ads, a lot of businesses that are killing it with just TikTok ads. So it's important that you need to
Yeah, no, no,
explore.
you actually bring up a great point right there. What what is your ROI? What is the difference? So, let's say if I make a 4x return on ad spend on my Facebook ads. What
Mhm.
are the kind of results you see on Snapchat? What are the results you see on another advertising platform that may be away from Facebook? Like what are the differences you see there?
I haven't tried a lot of ads in these platforms yet, but from what I've seen and what I tested, for example, YouTube ads and Google ads are an insane results, especially pre-roll ads are really killing it. And they're actually a great way to get good attention because when someone in YouTube ads skips an ad, you don't get charged the that impression basically. So you're saving a lot of money and qualifying people in the advertising. And what I mean basically, to reframe it, people that doesn't care about your product are skipping the ad. And while they're qualifying themselves, YouTube isn't charging you that price of that impression. So it's saving you a lot of money in the front end just by running ads on those platforms. So also, um, for example, info product businesses are really killer on YouTube ads. E-commerce on Google Ads are basically the best platform to use besides Facebook. In terms of TikTok, TikTok is really killing it too right now with basically to direct to consumer products like sodas, uh, basically retail products. So they're doing amazing, and I feel that there's a lot of opportunities in those platforms.
This
And
question, it's also relevant on thinking of the priority, how you're diversifying and thinking of the customer journey. Because if you ask somebody, what's your Facebook ROAS, and somebody says, all right, it's 2.0. Well, that's actually 1.0 on cold traffic, and that's 4.0 on warmer traffic or targeting traffic. Same thing with these different platforms that find the most complementary one. So back to the original initial part of the discussion is that you kind of have to start diversifying. Like the sooner you can, the better. Whether it's like your strategies within Facebook or other advertising channels. Same thing where some channels are better for colder audiences or warmer audiences. So if someone says, yeah, like go to all of them, do Pinterest and Instagram and TikTok, like that's too much. Maybe if you have a big brand, you have enough resources, you can, but try to pick one complementary advertising platform and break it down. What's like the colder audience works better in one and the warmer audience in the other. So that way you can say, well, this ROAS, it's actually okay for it to be somewhere near breaking even, but this other platform makes up for it. So kind of having that perspective.
Exactly, you need to take baby steps with it. And you bring a good point, Jeff, that I want to discuss also. That you say my ROAS is 2.8, but there's a certain fact, an important factor that is front end sales. And a lot of businesses right now that Facebook ads is getting really competitive, and they're opting to focusing on losing money on the front end. They're willing to lose let's say they're zero profitable on the ROAS in the Facebook ads, and they prefer focus on the lifetime value of that customer. And that's also a really great strategy to start gaining new market share. That you're willing, of course, you need a good budget to apply that. But if you're willing to lose money in the short term, but you can make 4x that in that from that customer, it could be worth losing money in that front end with those customers.
yeah, do you have any other news, Diego, about anything else related to that? Like not going to the iOS update, but like anything else before that? Do you have any other news there?
Oh no, we have the antitrust lawsuit, and I wanted let's talk later about the iOS update.
Yeah. So yeah, just going right, diving in right into the Facebook iOS update. This is gonna change a lot of things, guys. Like not only for Facebook. This isn't just Facebook. This is gonna change Google Analytics. This is gonna change a lot of things. And I'm gonna pull up exactly the tweet that the CEO of Apple pulled up. I'm gonna find it right here. But it's going to change a lot of things. It's going to change the way we advertise. It's going to change the way we do a lot of things. And it's really important that we adapt as Facebook advertisers because it sounds like our pixels are going away. Like our pixel tracking will be going away, and that's going to be big for us, like really big. So I have it pulled up right here, and as you can see right here, let me zoom in for you. Like basically Facebook's going to make it where people can opt out of tracking now with on Facebook. And this is a very difficult thing for us to go through because if we want to track the customer journey through, like we were just talking about the customer journey, like it's going to be very difficult to see where they are, where what is our landing page, what parts are doing bad, what parts are doing good. And it's also going to be difficult to figure out who converted and who didn't because a lot of us will exclude the people that have already purchased from our product using that pixel. But now we we can't do that. Like, we're going to be constantly like advertising to people that have already received our product, already purchased our product, and we're still going to be advertising to them. And that's going to make a very bad experience for the user. And I feel like a lot of people are going to be ask themselves not to opt in for this type of thing, but it's going to change a lot of stuff. And I feel like it's going to be very, very unfortunate the way we use pixels right now is like fantastic, but I think it's going to be unfortunate if that functionality goes away. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
You're going first, Jeff?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can go first and trying to keep it simple where ultimately when everything is in effect that Amazon, or sorry, not Amazon, not yet, Apple, Facebook rolls out the changes, what's going to happen is that everyone is going to be testing as much as possible workarounds around it. And some will figure out, some won't. Some will be scalable methods, some won't. Even Facebook, they may even go to an extreme end to force users to go back into the settings and allow tracking, or Facebook is going to give you a bad Facebook experience of whatever it is, a slow experience, bad content, algorithmically not showing you the friends that you want, and you're just like a profile that didn't opt into the tracking. So Facebook is going to force you to, well, like here's these instructions for you to re-enable it. So that could be Facebook's slap back to Apple. It's like, well, we control our system then, something like that. So there's going to be something in terms of like from the tech side, like we could talk about a little bit later, how Amazon fits into this model and how you could like take solutions from one ecosystem into another where there's technically some solutions that will work. But ultimately, Facebook and these platforms are so smart where you have so much data, even on Android users, where you can start, and this isn't us doing it as advertisers, this is more about the tech solutions that will probably come out, is that Android users have certain patterns of how they're behaving on the web, and certain Android users are very similar to certain iOS users. So it's just going to be a lot more modeling and a lot more like assumptions of how Facebook is going to show you this purchase data. It's just going to be lower accuracy than what it is right now, which is like 80% accurate anyway, right? There's like a lot of inaccuracies that are coming in. Maybe you can get it up to 90% accuracy. So I feel like ultimately everybody is hit equally. Some will be hit more worse. So everyone's going to have the same struggle, which makes everyone at an equal playing field again. And then depending who adapts, who's doing what, brands and advertisers will stand out, will have an advantage or not. But because it's something that everybody is going to face, it kind of makes it a non-issue in a way. That's how I think about it. And then later we can get into what you can actually do to increase your chance of success and it not hurting you as much.
You know what's funny? I actually, before doing this live, I saw an article that said currently on iOS, the Facebook accuracy on the targeting is about 50%. Basically, you have a half of your users that aren't qualified to your targeting. So this is really important. Let's say you're spending $10,000 a day for big brands, $10,000 a day on advertising. You're losing about $5,000 on wrong people. So I feel this is really important also. And as you say, this snowballing with the antitrust lawsuit, a lot of people from the also lawsuit a couple years back, people aren't trusting Facebook now. So they want to play like their data is super important right now. And I feel that added with this iOS update, now people, if unless Facebook, as you say, Jeff, unless Facebook forces them to opt in to their data, this could end up in the long term pretty bad for the advertising platform and us. And we want to see a lot of more people pivoting to Snapchat, TikTok, YouTube, Google, because this the loss of basically the amount of advertising money that's being lost in the front end. I don't think any business owner with two fingers in their head will tolerate.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, guys, Facebook's will be losing billions of dollars if this does get implemented, and they're not going to die. They're going to die trying. So they're going to implement tools in place that make it where this doesn't happen as much as they humanly can. And essentially, our pixel will be going away, but there's still customer lists it sounds like lookalikes aren't going away. That's one of Facebook's biggest features is the lookalike feature, and I don't think that's going away anytime soon. But I do want to dive in of ZonTracker, which is Yev is the founder of, and I'm gonna let him dive into what ZonTracker is and why it's so important. I've been using it for quite a while now and have had enormous success when basically driving Facebook traffic to Amazon and optimizing for purchases. Because we all know that we can send traffic to Amazon using link clicks and optimizing for link clicks, but that's not going to drive very many purchases. And Yev's tool really changes the game of how we can optimize for purchases on Amazon without using a pixel. And that's kind of what we're talking about. That's what that is what Apple is taking away is our pixel ability. And Yev found a workaround to optimize for Amazon purchases without a pixel. So I'll let him dive in right into that.
Yeah, I'll say it in the context of Amazon, and then to this whole area of e-commerce overall advertising. And just the very simple description is that what ZonTracker does, the main feature is it helps you attribute your sales that are coming from Facebook ads, from Google ads as well, but that's a newer feature, Google ads, but basically Facebook ads to any destination. And when it ends up in an Amazon purchase, that's attributed. You see it in your Facebook ad manager in the column where it says a purchase happened. That the requirement is an Amazon store, but it doesn't matter how people get there. It could be to your website. 10% of your sales are going to be spillover sales, that the traffic is going from Facebook ads to your website, but people just go and buy on Amazon anyway because they like their Prime shipping, or directly to Amazon. So there's like all of these scenarios that will happen. So that's the short description. And related to the problem that as advertisers we have, and especially Amazon brands, is that how do you attribute? How do you know the success of your campaigns? And Amazon sellers have always had this problem of tracking issues. So maybe Amazon brands, they're looking at this iOS update and e-commerce advertisers talking about it. They're like, oh, welcome to our world where we've always dealt with this. So that's overall, it's the attribution issue. Like the optimization part of optimizing Facebook algorithm to optimize for Amazon purchase, that's more for optimizing, scaling. That's kind of like almost like hacks, finding ways of making sure that data, it's not just attribution data, you're actually sending data back to Facebook to optimize the way that it's working. So how this relates to the whole problem of just anything happening to tracking related is that there's lots of ways you can track. Like pixel is one of them. So if you think of like this ideal world where there's like data everywhere in all kinds of scenarios, all kinds of brands have different data in different places. It might be on their email list, in a Google Sheet somewhere, somewhere within Amazon that Amazon doesn't like to release, like within Facebook. So essentially what we're doing, we're just like stitching all of that data as much as possible. We're kind of like a data warehouse where we ask Amazon seller, the advertiser, like, where's all your data? Sync it all into one place. And we're trying to like resend it everywhere, wherever you need it, and essentially sending it back to Facebook. So then the Facebook marketing API, that takes over. So kind of like on the Facebook engineering side and all of their tech, they get the data back of whatever we're sending them. And that data comes from, depending how you do your Amazon business. It might be from product inserts that the customer then goes on your website and you have information about them. It could be from your initial marketing, from ManyChat or chat flows or email marketing, where you have information there about the customer. And at some point a purchase happens and you're either getting that data from Amazon, you're confirming that the purchase happened, or from your own CRM or your own system where you know that the purchase happened on Amazon, but you find that information off of Amazon. Essentially, you're just syncing it back to Facebook, knowing that this purchase happened. So this is just kind of like how that system is working. And now we can talk about, well, like what are workarounds? How does the system work? How can, with potential changes in the future that are upcoming, what can you do? So let me know if you have any questions. It's just kind of like just the basic setup of how it works. But now this is the problem and potential solutions where you have data, and if the pixel isn't working, one, you may not need to do anything because tech companies are going to do it for you. And I'm not even talking about Facebook. I'm talking about all kinds of software solutions. They're like, oh, by the way, here's this, plug in whatever, integrate whatever, and the data is going to be better. So that's probably what it's going to be like in a couple of months, where these solutions are going to have there's going to be the opportunity to improve your tracking. It's just going to depend on each brand. So then I think ultimately, let's say like after this call, each advertiser is going to say, so how does that apply to me? And it's actually very specific to how your situation is, what type of traffic you're running, where you're running, and what access you have to tech or not. Because one perspective, like maybe your strategy is going to change where you're not going to be able to track purchases, but you're going to know your cost per lead or the emails you're acquiring. And Amazon sellers are already doing this. It's how effective are your Facebook ads or Google ads to generate leads. And then you're good at Amazon marketing. Then you send those leads to kind of force Amazon sales and get your ranking up and organic ranking. There's all of that benefit. So you kind of switch into a different mindset of marketing, is more of like a lead generation. And a lot of that data may not go away because you're going to have email marketing. You're going to have access to that in your own CRM, and you're going to have data knowing who's engaging with the ads in what way, kind of like just depend on what level, depending how far Facebook will not have that data. And Facebook will probably have more lower quality data or colder traffic data, as opposed to like the hot data, which is what identifies the user. And then that's kind of like more privacy issues. So I'm curious from Victor's perspective and Diego, like what you think about just some brands, they're just going to switch their strategy of more upper and middle funnel instead of bottom funnel, where it's like, well, let's think of more of a lead generation strategy of, we can still evaluate effective your marketing, right? This lead costs more than this lead. And then we're going to do some correlations that these leads equate to this amount of purchase or this cost per purchase. So you kind of have to switch your strategy and maybe have more of like a affiliate marketer perspective or direct response marketer, as opposed to where like you're just aiming for that purchase. So changing your strategy may be the solution, even if the tech doesn't catch up with like increasing the actual attribution.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds fantastic. And like in simplest terms, to put it in baby standards of what ZonTracker does, is essentially it turns a Facebook ad. Once it goes through the Facebook ad, they land on the Amazon page where we can't track anymore, and then basically gets a customer list. Once someone buys that product, you'll basically upload your customer list into ZonTracker, and it will basically how I understand it, it cross references from the Facebook pixel from the Amazon customer list and data, and ZonTracker is the middleman that kind of assigns everything, and it's made it where essentially like take that perspective of not being able to have that Amazon pixel on your website anymore, and put it and take away the Amazon perspective and then use it for your website. Because think about it, if Apple is taking away the feature of being able to pixel people through on your website, ZonTracker is sounding very, very familiar when it comes to optimizing for purchases without a pixel. So it sounds like this could be the new potential tool when it comes to even not only tracking on Amazon, but in the future tracking on your website. So because that might end up being the future of the way things end up going. So, but ZonTracker is a phenomenal tool, and there, as long as you have all your ad sets, all your audiences correct, it ends up performing really well, and it has a decent accuracy rate. For not having a pixel and getting a 70 to 80% accuracy rate is almost unheard of. Like when you're just cross-referencing the geolocation and names and things like that within a Facebook pixel, and having that 80% accuracy rate is really good, because it's better than a 0% accuracy rate when you're optimizing for link clicks and you're optimizing for zero purchases. Now that is how you make a campaign that runs super ineffective. But he really changed the game when it comes to optimizing for Amazon purchases, because as we know, sales velocity is a big factor in Amazon when it comes to ranking. So if you increase that sales velocity through Facebook ads, they will increase your ranking as well on top of that. So, and if you want to get super fancy, you can use super URLs that are optimized, that basically make it where you rank for a certain search term using ZonTracker, which will even make it where you have a better optimization strategy to rank even higher. And if you run rebate flows, you can even optimize in ManyChat. So ZonTracker, Yev has made where there's so many integrations within ZonTracker. Like any Amazon seller can easily go on, assign it to ManyChat, seller tools, like all these other really amazing tools to make it where you can optimize for more purchases. He really has all the integration set up, so it's a phenomenal tool. So
Yeah, thank you.
it works really well.
You mentioned ZonTracker a lot. I want to like kind of take it back a notch, where like trying to be like not as as promotional as much as possible. Where there's like, the way I like to describe it is like, here's like ways of how like you can do it without any software. You could do it yourself. There's like other solutions that kind of like do different parts of different aspects, like not focused on Amazon. I feel like over the coming year, there's going to be a lot more tools and different options of doing similar types of things. There just hasn't been with Amazon focus, but now the whole e-commerce world is kind of going to be forced to come up with solutions. But just start researching aspects on whether it's offline conversions or UTM tracking. There's different ways where like you can do this yourself. You can try to like, all right, can I like use Zapier and Google Sheets and kind of like without like even getting engineers, you can like find workarounds of like doing these solutions yourself. That's kind of like, there's like doing it yourself, but finding an automated way to do it. That way it's actually scalable, because once you have hundreds of campaigns going, you needed all the data to go in the right places. So that's the only way to scale, to put automations in there. And then the tools, some of these software, ZonTracker and other ones that are more in like just the Facebook ad world, not Amazon related, where they do some of these automations for you. So it's gonna help understanding how does like your business fit into it. Like, are you sending so many emails where you need to be changing every link? Or like in Facebook ads, like do you have good processes on organizationally where you need to make sure that like you're adding UTMs or not? Maybe if you're not good on that, you want to use strategies that have nothing to do with UTMs. Maybe it's all about offline conversions related, where there's like some strategies. So this is like one that ZonTracker uses. You don't have to modify your marketing in any way, meaning that like changing every link that you used before, where it's kind of like more back-end type of attribution. It just takes data that already exists and tries to match things up. So maybe if you like want something that's like more automated, you look for those solutions that have something to do with server to server types of data, or then it gets into like engineering really fast. So if you're a bigger brand, then you definitely want to just hire engineers or software solutions that do that. But start looking into offline conversions and like UTM and server related attribution, which will all be combinations of workarounds to make this work. So if you're a lot of times I deal with like more advanced sellers, because they're thinking about Facebook ads and Amazon. So they're already like thinking about scale and external marketing. And this is where you want to start thinking like, what are some of your strategies? If you're like using inserts, or you're getting creative with your external marketing strategies, you essentially end up with more data sources. So you have to find ways to plug that in.
Yeah, and also I want to dive into some good practices and some really great, fantastic ad strategies when it comes to driving traffic to Amazon. And Diego, I want you to hop in after this, but some really great things I have noticed is if you have the Amazon logo on top of your ad, it increases your conversion rate of that ad by over 300% if you did not have that. So having that Amazon logo on top of your ad, it provides trust. It says, oh, I shop on Amazon. I'm going to go there too. I want to go to this ad. And it makes it where the ad performs significantly better by almost 3x times, or 3x by how much it performs better. So if you are running traffic to Amazon, make sure you have that Amazon logo on top, because it really provides trust, and it'll make it where your ad will perform significantly better. And definitely running that A/B test will make it where it performs better. And if you run it, by the way, you can target Amazon shoppers within Facebook using that Facebook optimization. You can target Facebook.com shoppers and target them, and that way you can not only can you put that Amazon logo, you can target Amazon shoppers on top of that. And using those two in conjunction makes it where you can make amazing ads. Like, that is the way to get the best work through. And also, you're optimizing for purchases through ZonTracker. That is how you make the perfect ad campaign for Amazon Seller Central, for Amazon, because you're targeting Amazon shoppers. you're using the Amazon logo to get their attention, and you're optimizing for purchases on Amazon. Those three factors are going to make it where you can make absolutely killer ads on Facebook to Amazon. And as we know, Amazon ads are really expensive. Like some people are paying $5, $10 to rank on number one per click, and that's not even per purchase. So Facebook traffic is very cheap, and using these type of methods, using this type of targeting, and doing it all in conjunction in one strategy, that's how you make killer ads. That's how you make effective ads to where long term you will make a significant profit off of. So definitely having all those together makes it where, and this could be to anything, like when you add a logo, make sure, like if it's Walmart, eBay, whatever it is, make sure you have your logo. And if you're doing retargeting campaigns, add your own logo. Like businesses need to be adding logos to their campaigns because it adds familiarity. People know and recognize it, and now it's a trigger for your ad for them to convert. So make sure you're using logos. It doesn't matter what it matters what it is, but make sure you are constantly putting that in because it will significantly increase your conversion rate there. Um, and also just yeah, just target Amazon shoppers. Make and you can target any interest. Like Facebook has thousands of interests that you can target. So if you are an energy drink, make sure you're targeting energy drink people. Also, like you can target energy drink people and Amazon shoppers and put them together, and now you have one audience of energy drink Amazon shoppers. And like it's that simple, guys. Like there's so many interests that you guys can just do the research behind it, like using the Facebook Audience Insights tool. I'm not using multi-million-dollar tools here, guys. Like it's super simple tools, like free tools, even Facebook tools that are doing it, and making it where you can easily find out and find really good audiences that will convert for your Facebook ads. So make sure you have all those in conjunction. And if you run things like ZonTracker, make sure you're optimizing for purchases. Like I still see people optimizing for link clicks and boosting their Facebook page posts. And I mean, that's great to boost your self-esteem, but it's not good for business results. I'm sorry guys. It's just not how it is. So, make sure you guys are optimizing for purchases because it will really change the game of how your Facebook campaign performs long term. And Diego, Yev, I'd love to hear some of your recommendations, A/B tests of what may work, what may not work, do's and don'ts. I'd love to hear both of you.
I always say go back to the foundations because I want to give the most simple advice right now. So when you're running ads on these platforms, you should go to the most basic things, which is the ad is to sell the click. You're not looking in most cases to sell the product right there in the ad. Because when they go to the landing page, if you have everything optimized, your product images, your testimonials, you have a good description, the product will sell itself. The objective of the advertisement is to sell you the click. So, for example, I run a campaign for an e-commerce brand a long time ago. It was selling jerseys. So what I run in the ad, I tried two variations. They were running a short form copy, and we tried a long form copy. So here's the thing: a lot of people think that a long form copy is excessively exhaustive. You don't have time to read, but believe it, if your target audience always read it. So you need to focus more in what the advertisement needs, not what you think it needs, basically. So if you think an ad could perform really well with short form copy, run short form. There's no problem about it. There's no specific or default way of running ads. If you think you can run a great ad for long form copy, run it. So there's nothing about it. So as I tell you the example, we were running for a jerseys brand, and we tried two variations, a full long form copy and short form copy, and both performing incredibly well. So the long form, we did the best campaign from that day, from that basically from that strategy. We achieved a 14x ROAS with the long form, and the short form copy we achieved an 8x ROAS, which is a lot, eight times And well, of course, there's the lookalikes, the retargeting. Not that wasn't only from term advertisement, so there's a lot of things involved there. But what I want to tell about is when you're running your A/B testing, focus more on what your brand needs or what your that brand could benefit from. Not don't go to the defaults of I always like long form copy. There I've seen a lot of brands that do incredibly well just by running. Oh, check out this and shop here. And as simple as that, they have insane results because they have it optimized. They have a good image, a good video. So remember, when you're running A/B testing, the objective isn't looking to get the sale right there. You aren't looking to put the features and everything of the product. Let the product sell itself. You just try to sell the click in the ad. Try to get the most attention to spark curiosity. That's the most important thing for me. And then drive them to your web page and let the product sell itself. That's as simple as that.
Yeah, that's great. That's really great. I wanted to go through some Facebook ad examples that just did a really good job and the way they targeted things. And like, cause I just think some of these people did a very like it just going through my Facebook feed. I'm like, man, these guys did a really great job of just advertising in general. So starting out with these guys, if you take a look at my screen, I have a little pop up right here. You guys can see that they really did a good job because they have the logos in place here, and it really shows like this is for Amazon seller. Okay, so basically a trigger is something that will get the user to stop. They say, "Oh, I recognize this. I know what this is. I'm going to stop and look at this." That's a trigger essentially. And the trigger is here. They're trying to appeal to Amazon sellers. So, they have Amazon Seller Central on this phone right here. Super smart. I'm going to zoom in on this actually. Let me zoom in right here. And this is a Amazon Seller Central phone right here on the phone, and it makes it where like it performs really well because it's just a really smart thing to have that Amazon Seller Central because every Amazon seller recognizes that. We know what that looks like and we know how horrible the UI is, and that's just how it is. So, and they did a really good job of showing like all these different platforms all combining into one, and it really got my attention. So I just thought they did a really good job here. Do you guys have um, any thoughts about this or anything that you would change in this ad right here?
Well, I actually am not seeing the ad.
No, no, like on
Yeah, I see it.
once you go on LinkedIn,
Yeah.
if
Well,
you looked on LinkedIn Live, you could see it.
Let me check it
So,
out.
but what it will refresh at some point, and you will be able to see it. So, that's unfortunate you guys can't see it right now. But
yeah, I
it's
see it. So,
By the
well,
way,
it's a
from what you told me, I found it. Oh, talk.
yeah. I was gonna say that it's for um, soft software ad for e-commerce ad. One of the things to keep in mind is that a lot of users like their lighting switches if it's like dark or light. So like just backgrounds and contrast, like sometimes that's enough to test to make a big difference because is it where some ads are converting better in the morning and then a lot of phones they switch like the lightness, so it's kind of you can see better in the dark and then the other contrast will like work better or worse. So then like without getting too complex into day parting and when you're showing which ads when, it's more about that you have to test both to kind of like have enough diversity that way like decreasing the chance of an ad saturating because you're maximizing the conversion rate at different parts of the day. So that stood out right away, where it's like bright phone and screen on a darker background of the images.
Yeah, that's a great point. Like, I always use dark mode. Like, I can't imagine using light mode on anything. Like, I can't stand it. Like, when I see people use light mode, I'm like, oh my gosh, that must hurt your eyes. Like, I literally, that's how I think. But, like, that's a really great point. I never even thought about advertising and changing the backgrounds and seeing the difference on conversion rate between dark mode and light mode users. That's a great A/B test, actually.
Yeah, because think about it. With your example, you just said that you're always in dark mode. So let's say you're seeing ads as a Facebook ad, as a Facebook user, you're seeing ads, and you may be part of a split test. Someone is split testing something, and like you're part of, like, let's say purchase group, like you end up buying something, but the one that isn't converting more than the others, and they're like, oh, that's a losing ad test that I ran, but you're in that group. So they just need to think about how to make sure they're testing in a way where they're not like losing you forever because you were in this test that, like, I would bet there's more users that are like usually in light mode than dark mode, just like my assumption. I'm sure there's data behind that. So it's like when do they test that dark mode, and in which way? That way they don't lose you or those types of consumers for sure. Because then if they're just running ads that are more for like light mode users, at some point they're going to saturate. So why not diversify early enough to have those experiments going to like split test, like maybe day parting. That'll kind of get when more users kind of switch, because the phone switches automatically for a lot of people, as opposed to someone that's like always there. Then it may be because maybe you have like more like an analytical mind or like engineering mind, because engineers like dark mode for some reason, or or like gaming type of mind. So maybe you overlap with interests that may correlate with people that like the dark mode. So thinking about those factors.
You know, you made actually a great point. I haven't thought about it. So you basically say if you try, let's say you try to run ads to people with dark mode, you can change the color, the background, and everything to fit those dark mode people. So if you then run ads to people with light mode, you can try with black colors or something more the contrary, so they can gain attention. So I really find that interesting, and they should put that in the targeting people with light mode and people with dark mode. That could be really interesting. I haven't thought about that. So that's really great and really smart.
Yeah, that's really great. So let me bring up another Facebook ad real fast. That's really smart. I really haven't thought about that. So if you are targeting that sort of demographic, maybe using dark mode is the best way to go. So that's really great. On Instagram, I saw this ad, and I thought as a marketer, it really appealed to me just because I see like 3x, and I was like, it really triggered like, so basically we marketers work on like a time scale. Like if this said 300%, 3x, something along the lines, that grabbed my attention, and I thought I did a good job on Instagram using that good square ratio, using the just like the other parts didn't really catch my attention, but the 3x really did, and I thought that I know it's hot pink. I think that's kind of weird, but it got my attention. So I thought they did a good job at attracting here. So any you guys have any thoughts on that, or is that pretty? Oh, you guys know.
You know, I'm actually trying to. I can access the live stream, so
Oh man.
can you check? Use your phone or to check the ad, like.
Yeah, unfortunately I can't. Not right here.
Oh, no problem.
But maybe for the next one. But
Or you can describe it. That could work.
it has it's pink 3x. I mean that's pretty much all I got when it comes to describing it.
Yeah, I see this one. I have feedback. I want to relate it back to where there's like different types of Facebook advertisers, or if you're selling on Amazon. So from my perspective, like I see a lot of users that are like spending hundreds of dollars per day on Facebook ads, and then other users that are spending like $50,000 per day on Facebook ads. So just a big range of like who's a more beginner and more advanced. So I want to relate some of these like strategist tips on like you should listen to like beginner tips if you're a beginner, or advanced if you're advanced. So for beginners, like coming back to that last ad that you shown, and this comes back to Diego's point earlier about, you know, like testing like short-term, long, different form, where if you're a beginner, one of the things that I see happen the most is not testing enough variety. And don't think of an excuse like, well, I don't have enough resources or a team or this or that to test 50 different images. The number one thing you can do, and it's not like all of these different tips or like things where they take more resources of like changing your ad strategy. Like you should do them, but that happens over time, like over months. The number one thing you can do is add one more variant that's an extreme difference of what you're running. So if it's at the ad level, at the creative level, just test something that's different. You're going to see a difference in click-through rate. Like Diego was saying, like you're selling the engagement first, not the actual purchase. So this is the number one tip for beginners. Just add something that's different than what you're doing. Because the most common I see, especially with Amazon sellers, they have a few ads, and whether it's like 1, 3, or 10 ads, they're all very similar to each other. And your click-through rates are all around 0.5 to 1.5, and then like you're running that. Just run something that's totally different than everything else. So even the two ads that Victor showed today, like they're totally different style. Just like do one, whatever you're doing, and then do something totally else. That's how you're going to see a click-through rate that doubles, and you're on the right path. And then if it doesn't, then the next month you can add one more variation. So kind of like keeping it simple, just add one more variation to what you're already testing, whether it's at a audience level, but initially it's probably going to be at the creative level that'll make the biggest difference.
And Facebook makes it so easy to test which ad creative. It'll optimize. Like you can put 20 ads in an ad set and it will only show the best performing one. Like they make it so easy to optimize the best performing ad, and you're 100% right. Like you need to keep adding more. And like I see so many Facebook ad campaigns that have one ad set, which means one audience and one ad, and they say, oh, I tried Facebook, it doesn't work. Like, no, that you guys can't do that. Like you have to have, I always have a minimum 3 ad sets, which means 3 different audiences. That's different subsets of audiences. And I usually do a lookalike audience, another version of a lookalike audience, like it could be a website purchaser lookalike, and then another add to cart lookalike, and then I do some form of interest lookalike, and a combination of both. And then I do like different ads. Like I just do one, I might have the Amazon logo small, and then I might show the picture of the product. I might get different pictures of the product, and I always have 3 ad sets and 3 ad graphics for each ad set. So that way you have really good performing. You give it, the more data you give Facebook, the more ads you give Facebook, the better it's going to perform. So make sure you guys, Yev is right on point. When you make sure you guys are giving it enough data, make sure you guys are getting enough ad graphics, make sure you're testing all these different variations. I always, for every client, I always test every single format there is. Because for some clients, carousels perform fantastic when it comes to the format. Using carousel ads, they just skyrocket. But for other ads, they perform all right. For other clients, they perform all right. So, like, make sure you're also testing all the ad formats: video, image, carousel, like all these different perspectives, and make sure you're putting different images in there, different videos, and things like that. And you can use Canva. You can use all these free tools that takes you 5 minutes to set up 3 different ads, and there you go. And then you can run a test on it. So Yev is 100% right there.
You know what's funny? I also think that testing is the cause of everybody, or the majority of people failing on Google and Facebook ads, because they think that you need only, as you say, one ad set, one ad. Oh, this doesn't work. It's like, what? You haven't tried nothing. So I think, for example, I tried another campaign. We had it was an energy drink, so it was just an image of the drink. We tried the image alone, and then what I did, I run to Canva, as adding to what you say. I added a little badge saying 30% off, or I don't remember, I think it was like that, and it worked.
That's great. Yeah, it's so random. Like it's not hard. Like what we do is not hard necessarily. You just have to be addicted to testing. Like it just comes down to like, oh, like it just like I'm so fascinated like between an ad that's an ad with a light blue banner, an ad with an orange banner. You're going to pick the orange banner. 20% more will pick the orange banner. Like things like that fascinate me, and like why the human mind works like that. So that's what inspires me to constantly test like just a crazy amount, because it makes us effective advertisers just by A/B testing all these different things, because there's always more to optimize. There's no such thing as a fully optimized campaign anywhere, no matter where it is. So all we can do is optimize to the best of our ability, and after that, that's all we can do. So
So spot on.
say that. Yeah. What?
So spot on. So
Yeah,
true.
yeah, yeah. So it's so important to always keep optimizing. Never say, "Oh, this is finished," because that's when your competitors are going to get ahead. They're going to know insights that you don't, and that's going to make them more effective advertisers. And that way, they're going to surpass you and capture your competitor better than you do. So just make sure that you're always optimizing. Make sure you're always doing better, and with Yev's tool of ZonTracker, you can do a better job optimizing your campaigns on a whole new level. And it's phenomenal. It really is. And Diego, I know you wanted to cover a few things real quick. So let's dive into those real fast, and then we can wrap it up.
So I wanted to add another point to what we were talking about. So as I was telling you, when we run a different variation of the energy drink ad, we double our conversions in the front end just by changing the badges and adding things to the basic photo. We didn't change the photo, we didn't add nothing, just a badge or something like 30% off, and something really simple, non-salesy, just giving them an incentive, again, as I told you before, to join the page to and let them sell themselves. Because you have the objective of the landing page is selling the product, not the advertisement. So having that into account, you need to be really careful when you're scaling your campaigns, because a lot of people right now, for example, with CBO, this is a great tool to let the ads optimize themselves. But a lot of people think like it's a magic pill that you just turn on CBO and your campaigns are gonna start racking millions of dollars in sales. And it's not like that. It's actually harder to gain sales with the CBO, because you need to optimize everything through an ad set level, and campaign level. So I think that's really important to also take into account when you run campaigns, and be really smart with your testing, because that's the basis of success in Facebook ads.
100%. And I just think in all ads in general, like I can't think of any advertising platform or just in marketing
Nothing.
actually in general, like organic posts, social media, like advertising, everything requires testing. Like even in life, guys, like I A/B test everything in my life. Like I A/B test how what like which way is faster to the restroom because I'm all about efficiency. Like I'm that weird. I don't know why, but it's just who I am as a person. But I need to I'm always about efficiency, and everything comes down to testing. So if you don't enjoy testing, then you need to find someone that does. So make sure that you get into the habit of constantly testing. If that's 3 tests, 4 tests, 5 tests a week, then that's what you guys need to do. Like it comes down to, if you want to be a success, if you're complaining about Facebook ads being too expensive, testing. That is your answer. There you go. And that's all it comes down to make it where your Facebook ads or any ads for that matter, where you have to pay less. So, are there any other thoughts that you guys want to end off with to wrap it up? You guys.
Uh, yeah, I have. I just wanted to kind of like finish off with
Mm-hmm.
like a advanced tip, or maybe for more advanced sellers, like 2 types of advanced sellers, and these are the ones that are spending way more. And when I say advanced, I mean like $5,000 per day on Facebook ads and more. And this comes back to what Victor earlier. At some point, you kind of there's a phrase you said where like, oh, it's almost random. And I think when people think about it, they're like, wait, so how can I have a strategy? But it's more about where you have to roll out your whole process, and in between there's going to be a lot of randomness where this same test is going to fail for one brand, for another brand, but doing it in the process of testing diligently, or some test is going to work out. So within it, it's random what's going to work or not, adding a banner or anything like that, or the collections ad versus image ads. But having a process behind it, it's almost guaranteed you'll find a winner at some point. It just may be over time or over budget. So back to like the advanced sellers, and this is specific to Amazon sellers, is that a lot of Facebook advertisers, like sometimes like don't do this. Agencies do this because they're good about process and best practices, but sometimes like advanced brands don't do this is having the different structure of warm traffic and cold traffic, or top funnel, bottom funnel, however you organize it. But think of that in the context of Amazon. So for advanced Amazon sellers, whether you're sending traffic to your website, so you kind of focus on sales there, or you're trying to like rank and traffic is going to Amazon directly or indirectly, have a customer journey behind it. Same as you would for your website, how people say the money is in the retargeting. Same thing for Amazon. And yes, there's an exception where 10% of brands or less are like on viral products, or more about like impulse products where retargeting isn't going to be as good. But set up that retargeting as well too. Break that down of who's engaging with your initial ad, whether it's to your website. If you're just sending traffic directly to Amazon, that's going to be much harder to do. That's why conversion rates are like much lower if it's like that cold traffic, unless they're coming from certain videos. So add in that like retargeting phase, and that's where, but in the context of the Amazon world, just try to think, where do you have a little bit more tracking in? And that's already warmer audience than the ones that you can track as well. So do it as far as you can. And that's a big advantage of a lot of Amazon sellers.
You know, I want to
100%.
finish with adding to some talks of Jeff because I find interesting. You said it's important to have a structure, a plan, and I see also a lot of people that can fall in the testing trap because they think, oh, I'm gonna test this and then I'm gonna try that without having the basically the big picture in mind. So it's very important to have a structure and understand every step of your funnel, understand what you want to achieve. You want to achieve in the end result, you want to achieve more sales, but how you want to achieve it? You want to try more, let's say, awareness ads. You want to run direct response ads where you use directly to landing page. You want to create, for example, top of, as you say, top of the funnel ads, middle of the funnel, lower of the funnel. You need to plan, build a strategy, and then run the ads. You can do it the other way around because you will really messing up everything. So be really mindful and really smart when running ads. Try to uh, build the best structure possible. So if let's say an ad isn't working, you can still move forward and try new things that let you achieve the bigger picture, which could be more sales.
100%. 100%, guys. Thank you so much. That's all the time we have for today. This is a great conversation, guys. It really was. So I'm really glad we got to cover everything we did. I hope we provide a lot of value. And just let us know if you have any questions. Feel free to tag us, any one of us. We all know Facebook really well. So feel free to tag us anytime. And thanks for listening, guys.